Welcome to today's trading psychology intervention. I'm going to talk about lesson 164 to 168 from Ivan Bianchi. So let's talk about lesson 164. Every trading decision you make is not a decision about what to do, it's a decision about who you are. So this lesson, I'm not exactly sure what Ivan Bianchi meant, but what it rhymes with me, with my knowledge, is that you must trade according to your style. There are different types of traders. There's the swing trader, there's the scalper, there's the fundamentalist, there is the technical analyst, and it must, whatever you do, it must be in accordance to the way you trade, to the way you are. So there must be some harmony between who you are and what you do in the market, how much risk you take. Lesson 165. Traders above all enjoy the ride. So yes, you are not just in the game for money, you must be money oriented. So you must want to make more winning trades than losing trades, and have bigger wins than losses. But because if you don't, you will be out of the market. You will just go broke, and then you will do something else. But there will be no more trading for you if you lose all your money. But it's not just about the money, it's also about the journey and what you learn during your endeavor. What you learn about yourself, how to manage your emotions, and what you learn about the market. So you take a great enjoyment about the journey. The journey, there's some joy. There's some joy in the ride, as Ivan Bianchi says. Lesson 166. The market itself is your teacher, and you are in a stage of constant learning. Accept the lesson with grace. So the market is your teacher, yes. The market tells you what you did right and what you did wrong, and what are the points you still have to work on. And it teaches you a lesson every time you lose money. Losing money teaches you more lessons than making money. As long as you make money, everything is fine and there's nothing you have to think about. But because you're just following your rules and there's nothing you have to think of. You take the position moves in your favor. You know when you have to exit it and what position you take afterwards. So as long as that's how it's going according to your plan, there's nothing more to do than to follow your plan. But when you take a loss, every time you have to think and learn from your mistake if you had any. Lesson 167. If when you lose on a trade, you learn from your mistake, if any, and it motivates you to work even harder, you're onto something. So that's maybe the difference between somebody who stays in the market and somebody who gets out of the market after a certain time and after a certain amount of risk, of losses. The trader that will keep on working on its endeavor will be the one that sorry I'm sneezing. But my hands are full with the camera and my phone, so I can't put my hands in front of my mouth. Anyways, the trader who takes a loss and it motivates him to work even harder is onto something. I mean, he found what is made for him, and he will probably with time succeed. But if you take a loss and the game is over for you, or if you take a couple of losses and you just desperate, then you will not belong in the game. Then it's over for you. Then it's game over for you. Knowing the game is not, and lesson 168. Knowing the game is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. So it's not enough that you know the game. You must also act when you have to act, and it's not enough to be willing to want to do something. You must actually do it. And there are people who always talk about trading but never take a position. There are people who always talk about something like gold price, but they never take real positions, and at least not a position with leverage, and not a position where there's a clear win and loss scenario in front of them. They might just be hodling, which is fine if that's their strategy, but they have no real plan. I mean, they always talk about the same thing, and they always give you levels, but they don't act on them. It's just talk. So it's not enough to be willing or to know something about the game. You must also be able to act on the game. And actually, there are only a few people who make that, who are capable of acting on their beliefs. And that's what I find desperate. I'm a trader, so most of the time I trade. I don't do videos. I don't talk about my trading. I trade. I find all the enjoyment and fulfillment in trading. I don't have to talk about it. I don't have to brag about it. And I see all those traders, for example, Tone Ways, who never puts on a trade, or even if he does, he's wrong, and that he messes it up in a spectacular way, and that even if he's right, he's capable of messing a trade up, even if he's right. I mean, it's just pathetic. But those kind of people talk all the day about trading, and they never trade. Why is that the case? That's the case because they simply cannot be a trader. So they convert into being a teacher. And it's a guy who can't trade that is teaching you about trading. And that's really bad advice. You should never listen to a guy who can't trade teaching you something about trading. Listen to the people who really are in the market and really are profitable, not to the guys that they have no chance of surviving, of ever surviving in the markets. If that's your teacher, there's, I mean, you do yourself harm by listening to those kind of people. And it's the case of most. I don't know any exception. I don't know anyone who I can tell you he's a good trader and you should listen to him. Not on YouTube, not on any of the social medias. Especially if you're popular, then you're an actor. Then you're not a trader anymore. Then you are an entertainer. You're not a trader anymore. A trader is not an entertainer. He's somebody who uses his brain and his analytical skills to extract money out of the market. And you cannot do that if you're talking all day and bragging about stuff you didn't do, and then will never be able to do it. Anyway, I think you got the idea. I'll let you take a look at the cheaps, even if you don't see them too much with the camera on your screen. They're just behind me, the chains placed from yesterday. And then I call it a day. Well, thanks for watching, and maybe if everything goes fine, I'll see you tomorrow for one more intervention. We are close to the end of the book that I'm reading to you from Ivan Biaggi. And once that's done, I'll find something else to talk about. As I told you yesterday, I'll take some book I read and we talk about that. It will be different because it won't be small lessons. It will be a bit more. It will be longer thoughts because those are really small lessons, 1 or 2 sentences, and that will be a couple of paragraphs. So we can talk about something maybe in deeper than the lessons we are going over. But Ivan Biaggi he's normally giving good advice, and I wanted to read those lessons anyway, so I thought, why not read them and talk about them at the same time. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if everything goes according to plan, see you tomorrow. We'll see what the weather does and if I find the time to come to go out and talk to you. Bye bye.